All right, everybody. For those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Now, before we get going, I'm going to have to ask if none of you send me any text messages while I'm up here, because while you're moving around, you're presenting, and somebody sends you a text, all of a sudden you have this wall of text in front of you, and that can really throw off your rhythm when you're up here. So please don't do that. If you have any comments like that, please save them to the end. I'm happy to take them. Also, if you could stay off the stage area here, this way nobody blocks this big display behind me, right? And it gives me a little bit of room to move around, do the whole hosting thing, right? Also, you're going to may notice at the very top of your menu wheel, there is a microphone icon that looks kind of like this. And now, when that's clear, you're going to notice, people are going to be able to hear you. But when we've gone ahead and we've turned that to red, which means you're muted. Now, this means that if somebody comes in your space and says, "Hey, are you still on that thing?" We're not going to hear any of that, right? So feel free to answer them. Likewise, if you have maybe like a barking dog in the background, right, you're not going to face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its quest time, right? Now, just because you're muted does not mean you can't express yourself. You're going to notice that in your menu wheel, there's a pink cheek smiley face. And when you press on that, your emoji panel is going to open up in the air in front of you. It's going to give you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself. If, for example, I share something really deep and meaningful and it touches you right here, and you start to feel it build up, you can just let it out. Let it flow just like that, right? Maybe I got some backup dancers backstage. They come out, we break out in It's Quest Time, the musical, right? You're all very impressed, and you can throw up the applause that I live for just like that, right? And I take a moment to drink it all in because it feels good. All right, if I ask you guys a yes or no question, you can say yes by smiling like that, or maybe you can say no by frowning like this. Maybe I say something funny, right? You can show me you're laughing by doing a silly face emoji just like that right here, right? And then there's this thing. This is by far the most distracting of all the emojis, right? You're going to want to use this one, though, if, like, I'm moving around and it looks like I'm talking, you guys aren't hearing me, right? And that's a good way to let me know that's a problem. Now, if, there's like one of them going up, I'm probably going to keep on going. But if I see like 5 or 6 of them going up at one time, I know there's a problem I probably need to check into, right? So this is like our agreement. This is our pact. This is our sacred bond, audience. This is how we're going to do it. Now, also, you're going to notice there's an X on this panel. That'll close it. But it's a good idea to keep it open during an event like this because it gives me some feedback. It lets me know how I'm doing. But more importantly, it lets everyone around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you starts going like this, that means they find something funny, right? And you may not agree. You might be like, "That's not funny at all. I'm going to go stand over here." Except, probably not here because this is on the stage. And as we said, you're not going to be standing up here, right? Because we've got a bond. We've got an agreement, right? All right, cool. Excellent. All right. So while we got these panels open, I want to ask you guys some questions. First, let me tell you what Quest Time is all about. All right. We are going to be talking about the Oculus Quest in how it performs at Altspace, how you can get the most out of your experience in Altspace on an Oculus Quest. But before we head out, I want an idea of how to proceed. Right. So if you're on an Oculus Quest right now, let me see you throw up some hearts. Let me see some love for the Quest. If you're on a Quest right now, let me see some hearts. Maybe put your hands up in the air because you can. All right. Let me see. All right. That's a lot of Quest users. Clearly good. How many of you are new Quest users? Let me see some smiley faces if you're new to the Quest experience. Anybody? Any new Quest users? All right. Oh, that's a lot of you. Okay. How many of you are new to Altspace? Any new Altspace users here? Let me see. Any new ones? All right, cool. That's good to see. Welcome to Altspace. You guys are going to love it in here. There's a lot of great experiences to be had. You're going to enjoy it. Anyone change over from an Oculus Go to a Quest recently? Any former Go users here? Am I the only one? Really? Okay. All right, cool. Well, there we go. We got one. All right, solidarity. All right. Well, what happened is when I first came in Altspace on a Quest, so I was waiting for it to arrive. I had been in Altspace for a while on an Oculus Go. And if you're not aware, the Oculus Go has one controller, right? And I grew up in Brooklyn, so I'm used to expressing myself with both hands. But on an Oculus Go, I only had the one hand, so I'm talking like this. And I didn't really feel like I was expressing myself as fully as I could. So I couldn't wait to get this hand so I could start doing stuff like this, right? And so while I'm waiting for this thing, when it finally arrives, I took a good look at the controllers, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of buttons, right? That's a lot to take in if you're a new user. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it. Now, listen, I like to go over this stuff. Now, if you've been around on the Quest for a while, you probably know a lot of this stuff. So we like to do some movement exercises to make it a lot of fun for everybody while the new users skill up, right? Before we go over it, you guys know the basics. You wouldn't be here today. The left thumbstick's going to move you around like this. The right thumbstick's going to spin you around like this. And if you combine them, you can get this big, elaborate circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. If everybody can go ahead and do this like big circle like that, I'm going to look out there and it's going to look like you guys are ballroom dancing. Let me take a look at that. Let me see what you got. All right, everyone's doing it. There we go. Looking good. Very cool. I always say I wish you guys could see what I see up here. Now you can. If you take a look, there's Raven Eye floating in the air up there. That's our YouTube camera. And if you, well, go ahead and look at YouTube. You can take a moment, turn around, wave at the camera, feel all space famous, right? We got, let's see, in the green shirt, we got Con Man. In the red shirt, we got DJ Gamer 808 here, floating up in the air and being super distracting and hopefully not blocking the camera. Hector, I'm going to ask you to not do that, please. All right, cool. We got a lot of people here. YouTube, come on in Altspace. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, cool. Awesome. All right, let's talk about what some of these controls do, if we can. All right. For first thing we're going to talk about is the grip button. All right, on your right and your left controller, on the side right there, you've got your grip button. Now, you're going to use this to interact with your environment. This is how you're going to hold on to stuff, right? Like, well, that's what they call the grip button. And that's how I'm holding this laser pointer here, right? And I can switch it to my other hand like this. You're going to use this to grab like fireworks. You're going to use this to grab, interact with objects in the world editor if you're building worlds with your own two hands, right? Or maybe you want to throw some basketballs around. You can try that grip button right here. Here, go ahead and just try those. Throw a couple out there. You can toss those around, get a handle on what that grip button feels like, everybody. Just grab one of those, just grab one of them, and just, play with those for a bit. Okay, cool. What else do we got here? Now, if you are on a, let's see. All right, here we go. Okay, if you're having a room scale experience, right, what can happen is a lot of times you're going to walk out past your main menu. And for some reason, that's always when somebody says, hey, open your main menu. And you look around, you're like, I don't see any blue triangle. What is this? Right? And, it can be frustrating. But you got to remember that on a Quest, your main menu is in your hands at all times. On your left controller, you are going to notice a flat button down toward the bottom right here. Right? And when you click on this, your main menu is going to open up. So it's always in your hands. If you can't find your menu, that's the best thing you can do. Right? So what you can do is what I like to do is I like to flick my hand out when I do it. Right? Like my menu just opened. Oh no. And I flick it again. My menu's closed. You don't have to do the hand flick, but it does, I think add something to the experience. So feel free to do that too if you like. All right. Another thing you have here is, listen, when I first came on the Quest, right? I went to the campfire to check it out. And I was feeling really good, new device, feeling pretty good. I'm walking on air, and I looked around. All the other avatars were like shorter than me, right? I'm like, what's going on? Right. And, it turns out that on the Quest, you have to worry about your vertical movement. All right. And it's best to handle this by on your left controller, that left thumbstick. If you press down on that, all right, it's going to recenter you. And what I mean by this is if somebody's willing to come up toward the stage and kind of change your vertical height, either kind of scooch up or kind of go down here. Here we go. Let's see. Hector, do me a favor. Press down on your left thumbstick. Show everybody what happens. All right. Kind of just ease down. It's more of like a snap motion. I'll try that again. So everybody can see. There you go. Now press that left thumbstick. See, boom. Now press the left thumbstick. See how we centered like that? The important thing to keep in mind is this is controlled by your head. So if you're looking down at your feet like this and you suddenly press on that button, it's going to lift you up because the movement's attached to your head. So what you want to do if you want to get perfectly level is just look straight ahead, keep your head level, press down on that left thumbstick, and boom, you'll be just like centered on the floor and just going to feel very comfortable and perfect, right? All right. Now the next thing you can do is, let's see what else we have here. Oh yeah. If you hold down on your, listen, I know this looks like a lot of buttons and you will get used to it after a while, but some of these buttons do the same thing. Like this select button here, it's a right trigger button, and it's left select button if you have your pointer enabled. That's all going to do the same thing. So if you hold down your right trigger now and you move your controller through the crowd, you're going to see everybody's name tag appear above their head. That's how I know everybody's name so quickly. That's how I know this is outgoing control. And we've got Magenta Monkey 123. We've got David. We've got Wagan 1352. All right. So yeah, that's how you know everybody's name really quickly, and that's pretty useful to know. Also, we have on the right and left controller, we have the teleport button here, this raised up button right there, and this raised up button right there. This is really cool, actually. If everybody join me by going line it up against this wall here, and if you hold down on your right controller that teleport button and aim at the floor, you're going to see a circle appear on the floor. That's your teleport target. And if you aim that across the room by that wall and let go, boom, you get thrown right across the room, just like that. Everybody teleport over to me while there's still time. You can make it. I believe in you. Do it. Now, if you press down on that left teleport button, what you can do, right, is aim across the room. And as you aim across the room on your left controller, as soon as you let go, boom, you get thrown right across that room. Give that a try. Now, if you hold down both teleport buttons at the same time, you can make an X on the floor. And as soon as you let go at the same time, you'll zig, you'll zag, just like that, right? You got to get it like that, let go motion at the same time there. Another thing you can do, right, is, let's see, if you face the stage like this, right, and you back up, maybe, and you can press down, you can kind of do the Altspace moonwalk just like that. Hopefully that's not a trademark violation. And if you take on your left control and you squeeze down that trigger button, right, you can accelerate, go really fast like this, right? And, maybe we can go into a big circle here, right? Maybe we can make a tornado or a whirlpool and make it rain. If you get real dizzy, you probably shouldn't do this thing. But everybody give me a big circle. Let me see what this looks like. Everybody kind of go in a big circle. Let's see how you're doing. All right, let's see. All right, that's kind of sloppy. That's not really like a circle. I'm disappointed, audience. I expected more. I showed up. You guys should too. All right, no, it's not real circular. It's kind of all over the place. All right, another thing you can try is, like, listen, a few weeks ago, actually, probably a few months by now, actually, you learn always learning new stuff in Altspace. I was down here, and you may have noticed I come in the audience an awful lot, right? And I was down here, and I had the audience kind of, crowding me a little bit. I needed to get back on the stage, and I don't know why I never thought to do this before, but I put my hand over my head like this, and I teleport it backwards. Right, so you can teleport backwards if you like, and it works with both hands. The little left hand backwards action. Give that a try. That's a lot of fun to do. All right, cool stuff. All right, let's see what else we have here. Let's see, we covered that. All right, cool, very good. All right, yeah. Oh yeah. Now, when the teleport thing, I tell you, when one time the Universe was held in a world that was very large, and at the end of the event, I came in and I was like, what are you trying to tell me here, DJ Gamer? I see you're giving me this gesture a lot. You want to kick the field goal, possibly? All right, maybe, possibly. Got a lot of people doing this. I'm not quite sure what it means. All right. Wow. Okay. This is some kind of signal. All right, great. All right, we'll get to this in a second. So what happened was I went over to the edge of the world, right? And I walked up to the end of it, and I started to fall. Right? I went a little bit too far. And as I'm falling, I look over, and there's this cliff off to the side, and I reach out, and I teleport it right onto that cliff, right? And I save myself from respawning, right? Now, because it's not like you can't get, you get hurt in Altspace, but I realized it was kind of a reflexive movement. And I knew I was finally starting to get a handle on the controls, right? And you will too. It only takes about a few days to a week to really get used to it. And there's going to come a time where, listen, you're always going to feel the plastic in your hands of the controllers, right? But eventually you will get so used to it that these will actually become your hands. Like if I say to everybody, hey, everybody, look out that window, right? I'm not going to think about how I'm pointing. I'm just going to do it, right? And it actually takes more effort to explain it. So hold down your grip buttons, you'll see that I'm going into a point, and everybody can do that and give me like a Brooklyn Hello. Everybody give me a Brooklyn Hello. There we go. There we are. Very nice. Well, we got this guy who keeps doing this thing. I'm not quite sure what that is. Is it like a field goal, maybe? I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say there. All right. But you can do this stuff to pick it up. Maybe twirl your fingers like this, right? If you hold down your trigger button, actually, if you hold them together like this, you can make the Altspace logo. Everybody, show me a little bit of Altspace pride. Everybody put them up there. A little Altspace. There we go. Oh, that looks good. That's awesome. I love that. You could twist them together, maybe like make a picture frame like this, right? Can you imagine how cool it would be if you could take screenshots like this? Maybe squeeze the trigger to snap it, right? Be like, oh yeah, you're a beautiful audience, just like that. Very cool. All right. Another thing you can do is if you hold down your trigger buttons like this, you give me 2 thumbs up. Right, maybe I'm not doing a good job here. You can give me 2 thumbs down. Maybe you don't know yet, right? You can twist them around like this, give me a little bit of both, or you put them together like this, right? There's all kinds of gestures you can do. If you touch your thumbs to the buttons or the thumbsticks without pressing down, your thumbs will go down, and you can maybe combine them into a cool dance move like this, right? You're like, be up here, I'm like dancing, yeah, having a good time. That's cool, right? And when you see people doing stuff that you like this, we had the guy who's, keeps going around like this. You see that? If you think that's cool, all you have to do is just mirror the gesture. Take a look at what they're doing and try to do it yourself. That's the best way to pick this stuff up. One of the first quest times we ever had, somebody came up to from the audience and they came up to the stage and they were going like this. And I thought it was cool. I started doing it back, and before you knew it, the entire audience was going like this, right? So, I mean, that's really the best way to pick this stuff up. And you'll get used to it, and after a while, you won't even think about it. Right? It gets easier and easier the more you do it. Now, one of the most important buttons that you have on your controllers is how to leave Altspace. So if somebody comes into your space and says, hey, dinner's ready, something important like that, right? Something you got to take care of right away. Don't press this now, because if it disappears, I'm going to feel it, right? But on your right controller, there's a flat button down toward the bottom, right? And when you press this, you got to think of this as like your eject button, right? When you press this, it's going to take you out of Altspace, and then you're going to have a choice to quit the app, which will close it, or you can press resume if maybe you pressed by accident. Like, say you're dancing at the Universe and you get a little too into it, right? And you hit that flat button. You're like, you just press resume. It'll take you right back into Altspace. It'll be like you never left, right? And then you come on in, you keep on dancing. Hopefully, Yuji didn't notice. She doesn't destroy you with those awesome admin powers. All right, so what else do we got here? So, but this button is also good to press when things go wrong. All right. And what I mean by this is, let's say, for example, you turn your head and the whole world moves with you. Now, this can make you feel kind of dizzy when you're in VR, right? Especially, if you're new to VR and you get dizzy easily. All right. So you're going to want to do is press that flat button, that eject button there. And this way you can close the app and restart the app and come back. And this is going to take care of most of the problems. But every now and then, things can be a little bit more serious. So let's say you turn your head, and when you turn your head, you see this black void on the side of the screen, right? And you're like, the black void's here again. And then you look to the right, and there's a black void. You look up, you look down, there's a black void. And all your friends are frozen very dramatically, just like that, right? And what you're going to want to do is, you go to press that flat button, and you're not ejected from Altspace. You're like, what's going on? Michael Forrest lied to me. He told me if I press that eject button, I get out of Altspace. But sometimes when your device freezes, that's not going to work, all right? And in that case, you're going to need to restart your headset. And this isn't just Altspace. This is other apps too. When your device freezes like that, what do you do? right? Well, I used to in the beginning, I take my headset off to restart it. And the problem with that is if you're plugged in and you got the power light that goes on, if it's not in a charge cycle, what's going to happen is you may get to thinking that your device is broken, especially if you're in a rush, because it takes a long time to restart it. So you got to get in a habit. It pays to know how to restart the device while it's still on your head. And the best way to do this is if you take your index finger or your right hand and you slide it up and down the side of your device, you're going to feel a raised up power button. And when you hold your index finger on your other hand, you can squeeze these together. And I find it helps to put your head down like this and you go into a deep concentration pose. And after about 4 seconds, you concentrate so hard, your avatar disappears and you get plunged into the darkness. After about 10 seconds, you start thinking, why did Oculus make it take so long? I don't know. 15 seconds go by, you start thinking about old friends you haven't seen in a while. 20 seconds go by, you start thinking about life. You start asking the big questions, And then all of a sudden, right after about 20-something seconds, out of the darkness, the Oculus logo will appear like the bat signal, right? And then when it starts to pulse, all you do is take your fingers away like that, right? And your device will start normally. And this is going to take care of most of the problems that you have, not just in Altspace, but on your device in general. It's going to put everything back. It's going to clear out the memory. It's one of the best things you can do. All right. So let's see. What else do you have here? What are you doing there? What is that doing? Okay. All right. Cool. Well, feel free. I see you're trying to say something there. All right. Cool. Well, you enjoy that. All right, cool. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, that kind of, that kind of thing's pretty distracting. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, so one of the things you can do now is, let's see, lost my place there. Oh yeah, it also pays to keep in mind. Or sorry about that. I had somebody in the audience. Actually, you respond to the movement, and you're like, I don't know what he's trying to tell me, but it doesn't look like it's a good thing. All right, but one of the things you can do here is, if you have a really like an extreme problem, like one time I left Altspace, and there was this notice that said Oculus Home is closing, right? And I was like, okay, what's going on? There was a blue button that said okay. So I go to press the okay button, right? And then the screen just kept saying loading. I'm like, uh-oh. So I did my deep concentration pose because that takes care of everything. And when I got back to my main Oculus screen, it just said loading again. I knew something was wrong, so I asked my good friend Google about it. And Google said a lot of people were having these problems, and the best thing I could do was a factory reset, right? So what I did was, now keep in mind, if you do a factory reset and you have like pictures on your device, you're going to lose all those. You're going to have to re-download all of your apps. The good news is you won't have to pay for them again, but you're also probably going to lose all of your settings, like a serious business, like you might even lose your Beat Saber scores, okay? Very serious. But this is a good thing to know, because if you experience a serious problem, this can put your device back the way it was when you got it. But please understand the risk of it. If you have everything saved on your device, you are going to lose that, all right? But the good news is, you're not going to have to pay for those apps again, which is always a good thing. All right, let's see what else we have here. Yeah, all right. Now, if you're here today, you're going to probably be familiar with the Guardian system because you did the tour, right? You danced with the robot, you played with the little blimp there. It was a good time. It was a great orientation program. But what you may not know is how to use the Guardian system to your advantage while you're in Altspace, right? What I mean by this is, like earlier I mentioned getting dizzy in VR. And even if you're not on the Quest, one thing you can do is if you look at your hand while you're in VR, if you're feeling dizzy, and focus on that hand, even though that's not your real hand, it gives you something to focus on, right? And when the dizziness starts to pass, you can take your hand away and take in the world around you, and that can help with that experience a lot. But you can also use your Guardian system for this purpose as well. And the way you do this is if you walk up to the edge of your boundary, listen, when you're moving around in VR, please be very careful, because you'll see in Altspace a lot, somebody will be walking along, they're having what looks like to be a good day, and all of a sudden, boom, they bounce off the wall, and you're like, oh no. Well, you want to make sure, right, you don't hurt yourself or damage your equipment. And I find it pays, especially if you're new to VR, to kind of lead with your hands so you get used to being in that space, right? And when you get close to the edge, you know how that grid appears, right? Well, if I walk up to my real world wall right now, like this, and then all of a sudden the grid appears, right? And I can kind of see the shape of the wall, I can still touch my thumbsticks. So I could still move my avatar around in VR, right? And what I can do is I can walk up to the screen here, and I can line this screen up with my real world wall. And this creates what I call a reality anchor. So I can take back, right? And as I'm walking back from that wall, oh no, I've fallen off the stage. I'm in the audience. Then what if you guys aren't a nice audience, right? What if you guys want to try to make me dizzy? Like stick your hands in my face, right? Just kind of mess me up, right? Wow, you guys are really polite. You guys aren't even trying. All right, come on now. All right, now, as long as I can see that screen, all right, maybe I'll back up. Maybe you guys aren't reaching a little bit. All right, you got a little bit better than that. Oh, come on. I can still see that display no matter what you guys do. You'll notice I'm not losing my sentences. You're not messing me up too bad. This is actually really pretty easy. You guys are really being very polite today. All right, but what you can do is this is going to keep me like kind of anchored into the real world in a way that's not going to throw me off. It's not going to make me really dizzy. All right, you can see like I didn't kind of miss any words there, right? But you can also use something else, like the edge of the stage here. You can line it with a real world table or a real world desk or something like that. And it's going to help you feel a little bit more balanced and a little bit less VR dizzy, especially if you're new to VR. Okay, so let's see, what else do we have here? Also, you can switch between a room scale experience to a stationary experience pretty effortlessly in Altspace. So let's say, like, listen, I've hosted over 300 events in Altspace. All right. And let me tell you something. I'm tired. I'm getting exhausted. It's just every day, all day. It's a lot to take in. So what I can do is, let's say I want to sit down and relax and still present. I can do that without even leaving Altspace. What I do is I go up to the end of my guardian system and I lead with my hands, right? And I make sure I have enough room for my head to pass through. And I, stick my head through there like that. And my pass-through camera goes off and I can see the real world. Now they even have an experimental device. I don't know if any of you guys have tried this yet. But you can double tap with your finger on the side of the device and you'll be able to activate your pass-through camera. Right. And this will allow you to see into the real world. I can see I got my coffee mug right here, take a sip of that, and then throw it down because I'm a rebel like that. Right. And then I look over there and I see my chair right there. And I say, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go sit down. Right. So I walk out and the pass-through camera goes off. Right. I sit down in my chair and I press that blue button that says I want to have a stationary experience. And when I do, and the grid pops up, I find that not only am I still in VR, but I'm also still in Altspace. I never actually left. And this works in the other direction too. One time I was moderating an event. And as I'm moderating, I got the urge to, get up and walk around. So I figure I'm just going to get up. I'm going to step into my larger guardian area. And sometimes your Quest can lose your system, and it's going to want you to make another boundary. And this happens because of changing light levels. And for one reason or another, your device can't resolve where it is. And I figured no big deal to draw, a boundary again. But when there's 2 minutes left in the event, it's a very big deal. So I start drawing that boundary, right? I'm drawing it out, and I'm like, why is my play space so big? I don't understand. And then I start thinking, why of all the days to moderate for an admin did it have to be today, right? And then when I close the loop, that grid comes up out of the ground, and I find not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left. So you never actually have to leave Altspace to be more comfortable, all right? So keep that in mind, as you get used to the experience, okay? And let's see, another thing, this isn't really useful. This is just cool. If you go up to the edge of your guardian, right, and you make sure you got enough room to move your head through it, and if you start to move your head through it and that pass-through camera goes off and you can see the real world, try doing this really slowly. There's kind of a sweet spot where you can see both realities at the same time. And this is really cool because you're going to get a sense of the scale or the size of the avatars. Like, did you know that the avatars in Altspace are about 6 feet tall? And they're a little bit wider than you would think, too. And you really don't get a sense of that until you see them in your home environment. Like, until you see avatars in your home or, in your living room or your office or wherever you VR from. It's a really great way to get, kind of in touch with that. All right, let's see what else we have here. All right, now, one of the great things about the Quest is it just works, right? Now, that doesn't mean it can't work better. There's a few accessories that can really enhance the experience. Like, those earbuds that kind of hang down from the sides. I don't know what I look like when I'm in VR, but with these hanging down, I like to think I look fancy. They're like VR earrings, right? And the first time I tried them, listen, I wasn't expecting much because, the sound on the Quest is pretty rich, full experience. So I go to the campfire, test them out, I put the earbuds in. And did you guys know there's a breeze in the campfire? Nobody told me that, right? I had no idea. And, I just go and check it out. And then I went over by the bridge there and I heard all this flowing water. And I'm like, wow, it turns out there's a lot of immersive ambient sound, right, that really makes the experience a lot more full and a lot more rich. All right. So, feel free to check that out. It's a really good product. Also, listen, a lot of people think that the Quest is uncomfortable. When I first got my Quest, I got like a sore on my forehead from using it. All right. And a lot of people, I know a guy that actually returned his Quest because it was uncomfortable. It turns out that an Oculus, they don't do enough to advertise this, but there's a breaking in period when you first get your headset. So if you're a new Quest user and you're finding it a little bit of uncomfortable, give it a few days to maybe a couple weeks, depending on how often you use it. And you're going to find that the oils in your face actually soften the insert. And as the springs on the side start to break in, you're going to find it gets more and more comfortable. A lot of people, when they first get it, they're going to think, I'm going to modify the device. And they do it too early. So they'll get these counterbalances, they'll get external battery packs and all that kind of stuff. And then in a couple of weeks, when the device is broken in, the balance changes again, and they're left with the opinion that the Quest is uncomfortable. And they tell everybody, oh, it's too front heavy. Oh, the balance is terrible. But the reality is you got to give it a time to go through this breaking in period. And then at the end of that breaking in period, if you feel it's still uncomfortable, that's when you want to try the accessories. Like, for example, we got this insert from VR Cover. It comes with 2 of them, which is great because you can clean one while the other one is in use. And that's good to keep it more hygienic, especially, during these times where, got to be very mindful of that kind of stuff. And, yeah, it's a great product. Also, you have these prescription lenses that you can put in, and these will protect your eyeglasses and your VR lenses. Because, listen, scratching one is bad enough, but if you scratch them both, that can get pretty expensive, right? And protecting your device is important. The box that the Quest comes in is really, it's a really great box. It's a great way to store the device when it's not in use. You want to leave it out in the sun to get damaged that way. And, but if you're going to be moving around a lot, one of these travel cases is a really great way to do it. Because, listen, if something happens to your headset, you're not going to experience this like losing an appliance, especially if you're spending a lot of time in here and you make friends and connections, right? Like we got 2024 times one, right? Interesting name. We got Magenta Monkey here, 123. And if something happens on my headset, I'm like, oh no, I'm never going to see these guys again. And you get to register that as an actual loss. All right. It doesn't feel too good. I've seen it happen. So please take good care of your device. It's very important. All right. Now we are going to be taking any questions or comments you have. So if you have tried an accessory that I haven't mentioned here, or you have a question like that, what you're going to see, if you look to your lower right, you're going to see a raise hand button appear as if by magic, because that's what magic looks like in VR. All right. So you press that button, you'll get on a list and be able to, ask a question, something like that. You'll be able to hear yourself on YouTube later if you like, when it goes up in a couple of weeks, because we're a little behind. And while we wait for that list to fill up, if you guys are on Twitter and you want to follow us, you can find us at _ Uncanny Valley. And know that looks like 1 _ but it's actually 2. And those products I just showed, if you'd like to try any of them, you can find them by going to altvr.com, and you'll notice at the upper left there's a link that says channels, and when you click on that, you'll see all these Altspace event channels, right? And down toward the bottom, you see Ravenhall events, like it says on that sound booth up there. And when you click on that, you can take it to our event page, and you'll see on the left-hand side all those products if you want to try any of them out. Also, you'll see the join Discord button if you have any questions, you want to say hello or try to help us put on events like this. There's also the most important button on the internet. It's true. That's where they keep it. It's a subscribe button, and when you press that, it lets Altspace know that you enjoy our content. Listen, we don't get paid to do this, but when we see that number goes up, it's a great way to say thank you. It makes us feel great. Although, when somebody presses that subscribe button on YouTube, it makes us feel even better. And YouTube, if you want to try any of those products out, you'll find them in the links below in the description. All right, now let's see any questions. We have DJ Gamer. DJ Gamer, you're on the air. What's up, DJ? Where are you?
Yeah, okay, so first
What's up?
I want to say I crashed twice while watching this,
Okay.
and then that's a really good pun.
What's a good pun?
It's
You lost.
question time.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. Yeah, we like that. We tried to play with
In
the name as much
this-
as possible. Yeah, what was that
This
about?
means I'm shy. It's amazing.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Everybody, you feeling shy? Let's try that. Everybody go ahead, give it a shot. Like that. You're like, oh, I'm feeling a little shy. I don't know. I'm just trying to kind of say hello there. What else could do that? Maybe spinning around like this, like that. You do that? Like, I don't know. I kind of don't know what to say here. All right, cool. Awesome. Thank you for that. That's awesome. All right, let's see. Who else do we have here? We have 2024 times 1. I think I'm saying that right. Am I saying that right? Special meeting. You're on the air. What's up? No? Okay. Maybe you pressed the button by accident. All right, cool. No worries. All right. Going once, twice. Okay. I don't see I have anybody else on the list. But if you do have any more questions, feel free to join us at the Ravenhall Flight Academy. We're going to teach everybody how to fly there. Take questions, check it out. And the way we're going to do this is going to be really cool. You're going to notice there's a Talon call button up there, right? And when we press this, what's going to happen is a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft is going to fly in down the street. You'll see it pass by this window. It's going to go up over the trees in the back. It's going to land in that backyard area, and we're going to go out and meet it. We're going to take it over to Flight Academy and teach you guys to fly. If you don't yet know how, we'll also take questions, kind of hang out a little bit, right, and give that a shot there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the stage block here, so you want to come up on stage, right, and I'm going to unmute everybody, right? We're going to press this button together if you like. So what we're going to do now is going to go over here, and on 3, we're going to press this button. Everybody, put your back into it. Let's give this a shot. Ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Push.
Ravenhall Talon
now look out the window,
aircraft en
everybody.
route to your
Look out that
position.
window. There it is. There it goes. That's a Talon hovercraft. Now you guys can actually fly this if you want. So come on and join me. Let's go outside. Now listen, if you've learned anything here today, please share it with those you come in contact with. So if you're standing in the campfire and, somebody is down low and you're like, what's wrong? And they're like, I'm on a quest and I'm stuck in the ground. Tell them to press down that left thumbstick. They'll pop up and they'll feel better. You'll feel better because you help somebody, and that's how we help keep this thing going, right? All right, here it comes, everybody. Hang on. Here we go.
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you, everybody. You've been a great audience. I'll see you next time.